All right, let's go to this. This is going to probably make everybody's blood pressure rise. Oh, we're going to dive into this. All right, here it comes. Buckle in. Here we go.
Been drawn in the Democratic Party is the future of healthcare. And we have the sort of faces of the two sides of this. The Medicare for All wing would be Bernie Sanders, and the let's stay with Obamacare and add the public option approach with Joe Biden. Things have been heating up a little bit lately. Let's take a listen to what Senator Sanders had to say about Joe Biden's approach.
But we should not have distortions of what Medicare for All stands for. Joe talked about a hiatus. Was that the word that he used? In care. In other words, if you have a serious illness, as we transition to Medicare for All, there may be a hiatus. That is absolutely wrong. Of course, there will be a continuity of care.
Marissa, let me start with you. What do you make of this fight?
I mean, exciting, but most importantly, as we get closer and closer towards the election, you're going to start to see candidates pull out knives kind of on one another as they start to
How is it pulling out knives on somebody to accurately talk about how they misrepresented your policy? That's called politics. That's not pulling out knives. That's not stabbing a colleague in the back. That's called accurately responding to a false criticism and a misrepresentation of your policy. But okay, let's go on.
Show their differences. I think that it's kind of interesting to see the more progressive way to move in healthcare, but at the same time, you know, is America really ready for that?
Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, America is ready for that. Medicare for All got a standing ovation on Fox News. It got applause and a standing ovation at a Fox News town hall. Over 60% of adults favor Medicare for All now. So, yes, America is ready for it. Campaigning on it made Bernie Sanders the most popular politician in the country. Yes, the country is ready for it. All right, let's go back to this video now.
I kind of question a lot of the moves that, we're seeing with Medicare for All. I just don't think that that's quite the direction that a lot of Americans want to move in. It didn't work for us before. So
when did it not work before? What is she referring to? It didn't work before because we've never had anything like it. We never have. Have there been single payer attempts in various spots of the country, namely Vermont, where people got scared of the tax hike? And I put tax hike in quotes because, yes, technically you would pay more in taxes, but all that money you spend on healthcare now, you'll be spending less of it on healthcare. It's just in your tax bill instead of going to a private insurer. So if by it hasn't worked out before, she means have there been some efforts at the state level that got shot down because people got scared of the, quote, tax hike? Yes, that has happened. But people are finally coming around to the realization that that's not the way to look at this issue, that that's an inaccurate representation of what a universal single-payer system would actually do. First of all, it would insure everybody. Second of all, yes, we would technically pay more in taxes, but that's because all the money we're spending on healthcare now wouldn't be spent there. Instead, it would be spent in taxes, and we'd be spending less of it. So the right way to look at it is, hey, how much of the GDP do we spend on healthcare now? How much will we spend on a Medicare for All system? Oh, customers are spending less. Consumers are spending less. And it covers everybody. This is a good idea. That's what's happening. Here's the reality. And that's why these tax hikes have been able to scare people for so long. The United States is a very conservative country. It just is. There's no getting around it. It's an incredibly conservative country. If you are a progressive person and a person that's relatively left-leaning, you're used to not being represented on the ballot. You're used to not really feeling great about anyone you may vote for or not vote for. You're used to really having to break through the propaganda when it comes to initiatives that you care about and ballot ideas that you care about. you're used to all that. The one amazing thing that Bernie Sanders did in 2016 is he made us realize that we're not as alone as we thought we were. There's actually more of us than we realized, and this is a good thing. So, you know, I'll quote the great punk poet Attila the Stockbroker, who, by the way, check out Attila. In his song, Guy Fawkes' Table, which has been the song of the day before, you know, he says, and he's singing from the UK perspective, by the way. He's based in the UK. But he says this: we need a real socialist party, not just some establishment front, not another small sect, but a movement with the power to change and confront. We need an electoral system that gives every voter a voice, because we're fed up with voting for wankers, and we have the right to a choice. He's singing about the UK, by the way. Imagine if that dude lived in the US. Imagine that he'd be like, you've got to be kidding me. Wow. Grass is always, I'm going, wow. I thought labor was bad. Wow. You guys, your quote left-wing party is to the right of the Tories on certain issues. And yes, it is, by the way. The Democrats, when it comes to healthcare, are to the right of the Tories. UK's right-wing party, by the way. So anyway, if that's what she means by it hasn't worked before, that, yeah, tax scares using right-wing messaging, because we're an incredibly conservative country, has scared states away before, then yes, that propaganda has worked in the past. But I think we're getting past it. All right, so let's go back to this this video that is just spectacular. All right.
I think it's going to be interesting to see it play out and move forward.
We should also note, before we go to you, Antoine, is that the deputy campaign manager for the Biden campaign says that defending Obamacare is how Democrats took back the House. It'll be one way we take back the presidency from Trump. They're really laying this out as a stark
Defending
choice.
Obamacare is how we got destroyed in 2010 when I...
Oh, there's a truth bomb. Finally, one of them. Oh, defending Obamacare. That's how we took back the House. No. Democrats took back the House virtually because of Trump fatigue. I mean, honestly, when, you know, and I know people love to like, oh, come on, the midterms, there were some victories in the House. Yes, there were. And it was largely Trump fatigue that got a lot of those victories. It wasn't a blue wave. It was a blue trickle. And it was largely because of Trump fatigue and because of some progressive momentum. So, okay, it was not, I mean, did you hear about defending Obamacare in the midterms? Did anyone hear about that? Did anyone hear about that? No, I don't think so. So, defending Obamacare, that got us back the House. And then this other person straight up dismissed that. Like, actually, that's what obliterated us in 2010 when I ran for Congress. They say that in the video. So, all right, let's keep going in this video.
I ran for Congress.
This is what they say. They say, we're going to run on the back of Obamacare. We're going to fix it, take away, bring back the individual mandate. Focusing on that is a realistic solution, not Medicare for all. What do you think?
So a couple of things. There's a lot to unpack about healthcare. Number one, it is the number one issue. It was in 2018.
It's
and
true.
Every poll I've seen about 2020 ranks it as the top issue going into 2020. The second thing Democrats cannot forget is that we were able to sentence the Republicans to a minimum of 2 years hard time in the minority because we beat them on healthcare and reminded people about their failures on healthcare. The third thing I have to remind people is that we won on the fact that we have to do something about improving and fixing the places in the ACA where it was broken and reminding people that Republicans want to take away healthcare. I don't think we can.
No, all right. So the first couple points that were made were good points. Nothing was being done on healthcare, like literally nothing. We had nothing at all. So it was addressed when Obama took office. And keep in mind, Obama, a lot of folks were excited about him. He didn't want to do single payer. He didn't want to do Medicare for all. And that was clear. Some folks were hoping he was going to, but he did not campaign on it. So they addressed it. And that was something that people were like, okay, great. Then Obamacare actually unrolled. And it was essentially Mitt Romney's healthcare plan, which was thought up by the Heritage Foundation, I believe. And it still left a lot of people out in the cold. A lot. About 30 million, I believe. So people thought, okay, this progressive idea for healthcare didn't work. We're going back to the Republican side of the aisle. And the Democrats went on to get wiped out. So now people are weary of Obamacare, quote unquote, which is, it's not Obamacare, it's the Affordable Care Act. That's what it is. It's the Affordable Care Act, and it's essentially Mitt Romney's healthcare plan. People are wary of it now. They're tired of it. They realize it wasn't actually the fix it was supposed to be. So, and again, I heard nothing in the midterms about, oh, we're gonna keep going with Obamacare. This thing that has failed, that has made people mad on all sides of the political aisle, by the way. On the right and the left, people were frustrated with Mitt Romney's healthcare plan, aka the Affordable Care Act. So this idea that people are excited about fixing Obamacare, that's just false. What is happening is that people are clapping and standing up for Medicare for all on a Fox News town hall. Fox News. That's happening. And in every debate, when Medicare is brought up, people cheer. Medicare for all is brought up, people cheer. People cheer and applaud it. That's why pretty much every contender is trying to attach themselves to it to some degree. With a few, except Biden's not. And look at how well Biden is doing. All right, but let's go on in this video, see if there's anything more to this. Yeah.
Can afford to get into a political battle about whether Medicare for all is better than fixing and strengthening ACA.
Wait, what did you just say?
We can afford to get into a political battle about whether Medicare for all is better than fixing and strengthening ACA. I think
we can't afford to have a policy discussion about which policy is going to give people health. We can't afford to do that. What does that mean? Like we can't afford politically. We can't afford monetarily. What does that mean? Like this guy made some pretty good points at first. Like the first couple things he said, he's like, hey, look, the Democrats addressed healthcare. Republicans didn't want to do a thing at all. They addressed it, and people got on board. People wanted a solution. People know how pressing our healthcare situation is. It is the most important issue. It is such an important issue. That's all true. And then the ACA didn't go so great. So it wiped the Democrats out pretty much. First 2 points that guy made were true. Those were good points. Then he went on to go, oh, but so fixing the ACA, that's what everyone wants to hear. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Oh, we can't afford to talk about what's better, Medicare for all or the ACA. What are you talking about? We can't afford. Does this panel know what a primary is for? Do they know how it's supposed to work? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding of a primary, and I know since 2016, apparently all those rules have changed. But my understanding of a primary, because I guess I'm going down with the ship on this one, is that members of a party are supposed to talk about different policy ideas, discuss different policy ideas, see what the constituents want. So that way, when it's all over, the strongest candidate possible with the strongest platform possible that the base wants is the nominee. That's my understanding of a primary. I guess maybe that's incorrect. Based on what's happened from 2016 to now. But that's my understanding of a primary. And but this is my understanding of a glass. I drink water from a mason jar. I don't see any mason jars on that panel table. Not one. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, so we heard from everybody. And here we go. So that's from the Hill. And that is their discussion on healthcare. There's more to it than that. We're not going to go through the entire video. But just right away, we don't have time. We got to just fix the ACA. People are excited about that. Where are people excited about that? Where did you hear about that in the midterms? So you see just a list of false claims they made. Oh, the midterms. The reason there were Democrats pickups in the House is because people were talking about the ACA and how excited everyone was to fix it. And the one member of the panel dismantled that. And then, people aren't ready for Medicare for all, even though poll after poll shows that people are ready and the majority of Americans want Medicare for all. and it got a standing ovation at a Fox News town hall. And most of the leading contenders for president are trying to attach themselves to it in a way where they don't displease the donors. So there you go. And a couple good points made at first by the one gentleman. And then he went on to say, oh, yeah, and in fixing the ACA, that's what everyone wants, even though the ACA just made everybody mad. All right. So there you go. All right. But healthcare is a big issue. That much is true.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together